Hello and welcome to the New Year special episode of the Running in Circles podcast. Before the year ends, I thought we could summarize the whole year, and this whole year can be summarized in one term, which is the pandemic. So, this pandemic obviously has 2020 itself has been the worst year, and this pandemic is the reason for that. With so many millions of cases and 2 million deaths around the world. So before the year ends, I thought we could, discuss about the few good things and bad things that we learned from it. And joining me in this conversation is two of my friends, Vishnu and Venu.
Hi, I'm
Hi,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Hi.
Venu.
Yeah, hi. So my first discussion would be when the pandemic first began in like mid-March. There must be a moment where you guys would have realized that okay, this thing is a pretty serious thing, and it might take months before our lives get back to normal. So what was your story like when the pandemic hit, starting with you, Vishnu?
yeah. So when the pandemic first started, I was, initially in India, it started off with like uh, 5 cases of, Italians in Rajasthan or something, and I like at that point of time I wasn't really bothered by it. What I thought was, okay, they traced some cases, and it's been big around in some of the countries, and I know like we probably learned from that, and this wouldn't spread so much in India. But to the contrary, it did happen, and everything started shutting down one by one. And at one point of time when everything shut down, we did not have classes in college, and everyone was expecting this to uh, nobody had a plan, and everyone was like, okay, we'll eventually go down and colleges might open or something. And as it kept going and going, and you know they started coming up with new plans like online classes and all that. It was something new, it was a new experience. We do online MOOC courses or something like that, but learning from the teachers you see every day in college
Yeah,
on Zoom, it's
yeah, it
you
was
know that feel, right?
yeah, it
It
was
was
pretty weird in the beginning, but then like nobody expected 2020 to span out the way that it did. But yeah, online classes was something like that we had to get adjusted to.
yeah. And then so I mean, uh, you should see the silver lining to everything. So eventually we got used to it, and okay, yeah, there's nothing good about the pandemic and the number of people's lives getting affected by it. But for me personally, this year was, I got to see something good. I got in touch with you guys again, like my friends from school who I wasn't actually talking to for a while, like not just a while, years actually. We'd probably meet once in a
Six,
while, but not.
yes, like
Yeah,
once a
so
year
that
or
was
something.
something good that happened. And then something bad that happened to me in the previous year before the pandemic was me preparing for my GRE, and I had to go to the center and take the GRE. And I am the sort of person who gets distracted even if a pin drops on the floor. I have very low concentration power. So something good that came out of this was me being allowed to write my exam at home, uh, proctored through the computer. And that was something that was really helpful for me because I could have that headspace.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was your take on the pandemic. So we
yeah.
know when did it hit you that it's a pandemic and it's going to take months before your lives get back to normal?
I mean, it like see, when the pandemic started, I was in college and it was in March or something in hostel, and we were all preparing for a college fest and a department fest which was going to happen. And then suddenly in the news it came that government has ordered all the colleges to shut down and stuff. So I was thinking, okay, fine, 1 week I'll go home and the next week I'll be back, right? Or maximum 2 weeks. I didn't expect to stay home for the next, like, I don't know, 8, 9 months. So actually, to me, I always thought I'll be back within the next 2 months. Like, there was always rumors that, it started in March. Then in May, they told colleges will start. And then later they told in October it'll start. And then now Jan, I don't know if it'll start in Jan also. So yeah, like when when the government first issued the lockdown for like for like the first 20 days, and then later they kept extending it. That's when I realized it was actually pretty serious. So yeah, that's the thing. And yeah, like Vishnu said, this is a very unusual event, and lot for that stake. So there's not much, like it one way it was useful to me because online classes, the thing is, a lot of teachers don't really take attendance. So you could actually bunk that to prepare for your placements, because placements, I'm sure, was happening for all of us at that time. So I think that was one thing that I could get from this.
Yeah,
That's my take on
yeah, yeah. So I'll tell you about my story. So I have an interesting story. So I remember it was termed as pandemic in like Feb end or something, and then I had my mid semester exams in like the first week of March. And so after my mid semester exams, I usually come back home from Hyderabad. So I came back home for 4 days, and that time we had like a few in like tens or fifties. We had so many cases. So even in airports, I started noticing a lot of changes. And then I was back in Hyderabad on a Tuesday or something, and then I remember Thursday we got an email saying that okay, all of you guys are asked to go home and come back after 2 weeks. So initially I was very happy because I was going back home, right? So initially I thought, okay, we'll it'll be nice staying home, and then we'll be back to normal in 2 weeks. But then slowly and slowly, when lockdown happened, then it started occurring to me that okay, it's gonna take a few months. I remember I was waking up anxiously. Like I used to wake up to reading those coronavirus numbers sites. Like you've heard about those sites, right? Those sites, right? Like
My
Worldometer.
favorite one is covid19india.org.
Yeah. That one is pretty good, and yeah, it has good UI. So I used to
Yeah.
wake up to reading those numbers, but then it took me a while to come to terms that okay, this is going to take months. When you start reading things like r naught number and other things like that, you sort of realize that okay, just let's just get through this phase. I remember I started reading a lot more news because of the pandemic. Yeah, so that was my story. So now we'll move on to the next part, which is what are the things that you missed and things that you gained from this 9 month experience so far, Vishnu?
Okay, so you know I did miss a lot of stuff, so I'll start with that first. So going into my final year of college, after all the things I wanted to do were done, I my only thing was fine. So this phase of our life is gonna get over soon. So let's embrace it and you know enjoy it with our friends or something. And evidently that I couldn't do that. Okay. And I don't even know if I'll be able to do that in the next few months because of the new strain or whatever. That is something I missed out on. And that still haunts me. And whatever, it's gonna go how it's gonna go. You can't change things, right?
Yeah,
So, and then stuff that I another thing I missed out on was in college I was supposed to be mentored by a teacher to write a paper. We didn't really decide on anything, but that would have been something that would have helped my career, and I missed out on that opportunity. And that's not something I can do alone, right?
yeah, correct.
So yeah, so those are some things I missed out on. And coming to what I gained, uh, the best part about this pandemic was how productive you can be while also doing things you love throughout the day. So when I had to go to college, come back, I'd be all tired and waste about 2 hours, 2.5 hours a day traveling. And when you're back home, you're tired and you take some rest, and then you go back to slogging, doing your work or whatever, and your day's done, right? So the like during this time, what I got to do was, I had, like Venu said, you if you didn't feel like attending a class, or if you don't need to listen to that class, you could just leave it running and do other work, and then make up time for the things that you like to do, like for example, play online games with you guys, for instance. So that was something I got back. And i I used to do a lot of gaming back in school, when, if you remember, and that was something I came out of like recently, and like now again I got to do it all over again with all of y'all, and that was something special for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what would you say, Venu?
Yeah, so like I was saying, we had our department fest was going to happen in the next few weeks, and I was supposed to host a quiz. Okay, so I was really excited for that. So I was really, and I had prepared making the quiz and stuff, and I was almost ready with it, and I was really excited for that day. But suddenly this lockdown happened, so definitely I missed that aspect, right? And apart from that, yeah, I missed talking to friends. Didn't meet friends for like one whole year, which is very unusual for me. I either meet my old college friends or school friends sometimes, or like my PU friends, right? So that I definitely missed. And also, I also missed watching a lot of movies. I mean, I was really expecting to watch something like Tenet or something, Tenet, Dune, and all, but all of them got postponed because of COVID,
Yeah,
and also a
so
couple of
there's
TV
so
shows.
many good movies like
Yeah,
Bond, Black Widow, Tenet, and other things.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So that part was, I mean, that's a minor part, but but I would say I did do my first internship during this lockdown, because no one really cared about attendance at the time. So I could do my first internship at a proper company. So I think that experience I gained, which I think will be very useful. So that's one thing that I did. Yeah.
yeah. So talking about me, things that I missed. So first thing would be right when the lockdown happened in like around mid March. The next week, I remember we were supposed to have our college fest, and that was going to be one of the best college fests because we were like going to have artists like the local train, Pratik Kuhad and Ritviz. So all, so it was going to be a great concert, but at the same time the lockdown happened and that plans got tanked. And also because we are in the penultimate year, that time we were in the penultimate year of our engineering, right? So um, we were going to have things like a graduation party and like your last sort of semester with your friends, because last year is mostly internship for most of us, right? So those aspects I will definitely miss. And plus also one thing which I realize now is that that the day I left Hyderabad, that was going to be my last official day without realizing. So now I sort of miss that. I should have, probably um like like that day I was very happy, but I didn't realize that now it's gonna turn out to be sad because that was my last official day in Hyderabad, right? So those things I will miss. But what the things that I learned in the pandemic is that one is obviously you spend more time with family. So knowing that out of 4 years of engineering, which was supposed to be in Hyderabad, I will have only like one whole year is now in Bangalore. So that's good. And then I started playing Ludo with my grandparents, and I do gaming with you guys. And then see, naturally, when you're just staying home, you sort of have so much time, right? That's what Vishnu told. So I started new things. Like I started writing Medium articles. Even this podcast is actually a byproduct of me having a lot of time and like I just like to have these conversation with you. So these are the things that I gained, and another what would be the other things? One would be obviously job. Getting a job amidst the pandemic is something I didn't expect, but I actually got that. So that would be the things that I gained from 2020, apart from this horrible pandemic. So now we'll move on to the last part, which is what are your expectations from 2021?
So 2021. Uh, I'm not really sure. So I read this article. It's all over the I wouldn't say news. It's all over social media. So there is this one particular sentence from the Spanish flu that happened in 1920, and there's one particular sentence that say, "Let's hope to 1921 is better." So all I can do is hope that 2021 is better. So I see a cycle, right? I'm reading the news today, and I'm like, there's a new strain of COVID, and like these many people are getting affected. And this, you know what, it what strikes to me when I read this, the first time there was COVID detected in India, which is like five people getting some COVID, and everyone's like, oh, it's just five people. And I see that cycle repeating.
Yeah,
And also, 2021 also means for me to, if colleges decide to keep their exams offline, it's going to be a lot of paranoia for me, because I have to go sit with, like, people who,
yeah,
like, they're very close, and it, it's gonna be mind numbing.
yeah. It's gonna be tough. What are you expecting from 2021, Venu?
Yeah, I mean, I want life to return back to normal. So, I mean, I don't really like staying inside, stuff
Yeah,
like that. I really want to go out and
yeah,
go eat something. So I'm hoping that the vaccine that is being made, right? Hopefully that works. Hopefully that starts rolling out and
I,
everything
mm,
for
comes back
one,
to
don't
normal.
mind staying at home at all. Like, I'm getting to do everything I want.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
that is also there, but you obviously want to go out for a while
Yeah, that's true. You do have that feeling.
yeah, yeah. That's an
Yeah.
or go to
interesting
a
take.
movie or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting
So
take. Like Vishnu wants to stay home and like do the other things, and you want to do the other things and not stay home. That's an
I
interesting
mean,
thing.
yeah, like I do want to go out to enjoy a bit, which I cannot do.
Yeah, yeah. So
So yeah, and I don't really like. To be honest, I'm not really a big fan of work from home. I just feel like sleeping if I'm at home.
hmm,
So hopefully, when that starts,
hmm,
actually be much more productive.
yeah. So for me, I just hope 2021 is everything that 2020 wasn't. Like, I hope we could just do everything back that we could do. Like, just go out for a pizza and not worry about anything. Well, I hope we get back to travel also, because I remember I got an internship at Oslo, but because of all these travel restrictions, I was unable to go, which I would have surely gone had the pandemic not been there. So let's hope that 2021 everyone gets vaccines and life returns back to normal. All right
Yeah.
then, that was a good episode. See you guys in the next one. Thank you.